Hello and welcome to the iRacing Le Mans series, live on Apex Racing TV. I'm Sam Fitzpatrick, and alongside me is Ryan Walker with Sam Kumo on the cameras. And we are here at Le Mans. It was almost made for this track, this series, wasn't it? And we are very excited for the 1 hour race round here. And Ryan, yeah, like I said, this series was made for this track pretty much, and there's nothing better than seeing these Le Mans cars racing around this infamous circuit.
Yeah, absolutely. Good evening, everyone. Yeah, Le Mans is it's one of those iconic tracks when it comes to these sorts of races. Yeah, especially in real life, it's just one of those races that I could sit and watch all day or race around this place all day. It's just one of those tracks. It's got that nostalgia feeling to it, and I just never get tired of doing laps around here. And yeah, tonight should be a good one to watch, especially with the 24 hours of Le Mans taking place this weekend. So it'll be a perfect opportunity for these drivers in each class to get some practice in.
Yeah, absolutely, because it is. I forgot about that. It is Le Mans 24 hours. Certainly tune in for that. I guess we shouldn't really advertise other. Well, it is on the iRacing esports channel, so certainly tune in for that. I know I will be. Will be a fantastic event. We did just get a private message from one of the spectators saying a 13-1, which is very quick because Michael Mittner is currently on pole position. We will go through that once this session ends in a few seconds' time. But in the championship, Patrick Wolff does lead the championship in the LMP ones. He's some 400 points clear of his teammate Fabrice Cornelius, with Marcus Hamilton, who's really improved through the season. Unfortunately, he doesn't do this split, but he's really come well back in the championship, challenging those pure drivers. Then in the LMP2s, it's Johan Hart leading the way, quite far clear of Neil Andrews and Fraser Williamson. But that championship has been really close in every round we've seen, at least, between those drivers. And in the GTEs, it's Gianni Vecchio just leading the championship, not by a long margin over Michele Ricci. And then it's David Pina Jimenez, not too far behind, and Bruno Montalba in 4th position. And yeah, the gridding has begun, and we can take you through the grid now. So Michael Mittner, like we said, really quick time. We haven't seen Michael this season. Pole position, a 3:13.1. I think that's faster than the real life track record. It's like a 14.5 the real life track record. So what a lap that is. Patrick Wolff on the front row. Florian Kruger in 3rd position with Michael Dinkel in 4th. It's Tony Rupsard in 5th. Then it's Julien Ribelet, Matteo Prudhomme, Carl Janssen, Will Chithuga, Fabrice Cornelius, and Johan Hart, with Kazuki Umashina and Richard Arnold not taking any laps there. And then in the LMP2s, it's Pascal Stix on pole position, Victor Pizzi in 2nd. Then it's Maxime Bryant, Robert Harris, Fabrizio Donoso, Neil Andrews, Glenn Key, Leonardo Marquez, Vlad Tokarev, Manuel Hoyer, George Wiseman, Dirad Karoni, and then in the GTEs it's Lauren Heinrich, Kei Kashube, Niels Koch, Alexander Voss, Moritz Lohner, Samuel Roth, Daniel Cruz, Simone Maria Marcheno, Jeremy Raven, Patrick Victor, Joel Guez, Jack Cedric, Patrick Henrik, Dennis Grabowski, and Barry Morrison rounding out the field. So if I mispronounced a name, that's a little bit better though, Ryan. I thought that the names were a little bit easier, but yeah, it's going to be fascinating out here. This is, above all else, a race circuit, I'd say, a proper race circuit, Ryan. You got the really long straights around here. Slipstream effect is going to be mega, and that's going to keep us enthralled for the entire 60 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. With the track having so many straights, yeah, the track's having so many straights, and there's not really that many high speed corners. I think most of the time on the straights in the early stages of the race, it'll be a draft fest.
Yeah, it will be really interesting, that opening lap in particular, with yeah, all the drivers trying to sort themselves out. And they are just coming around the forward chicanes right now. Mittner on the pole position. And yeah, with the championship coming to a relative close, Ryan, it's going to be really interesting in those GTs in particular where it's super close in the championship. Those drivers really do need to pick up the points if they possibly can. And yeah, these races are going to be ever so important coming to the end of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. With the championship coming to a close, I think some of the drivers in the championship that are up in the front positions in the stand at the championship, they need to think about like playing the safe game and maybe just finishing races and picking up points instead of maybe focusing on trying to win or finishing the top three. Is just play it safe, pick up the points, and just finish races.
Yeah, absolutely. The LMP wants to just come around the final few corners. I think now big gaps between each of the classes out there. And as the Jets roar over Le Mans, we are very nearly here for the start of the race. Michael Mittner from the pole position, Patrick Wolf from second, and the green flag is out. Mittner really away well, certainly deployed a lot of energy initially there. That could hurt him later on though. He pulls away a long way clear of the rest of the field. Carl Janssen just moving ahead of Julian Ribeiro just behind. But Mittner, what a start that is to get his race underway. In the LMP2s, Pascal Stix, I think, is still leading the way there, with Victor Prete in second position. Doesn't seem to be too many issues, and then Lauren Heinrich getting away as well. So really strong start there, Ryan. There could have been incidents around that forward chicanes there. Maybe was a little bit of contact, I think, maybe in the GTEs. But it's really impressive that these drivers have got through that section of the corners with not too many issues.
Yeah, it's important for these guys to, and especially in the GT class, just to try and just get through the first few laps without any incidents. If they can do that and settle down and get into a rhythm, then I think they should be a lot more comfortable. I'll get your words out, Ryan.
In the lead of the LMP1s, I think it's quite close between all of those cars. You can see the GTEs roaring down that Mulsanne straight, and Michael Mittner, actually, yeah, he pulled away a little bit. Good, full credit to him. I really thought that Patrick Wolf would be putting a little bit more pressure behind him, and actually it's Florian Kruger up into second position then, ahead of Patrick Wolf. So, you know, these are really early stages, and you know, you can just press the button. I do go on about it, but I'd love to just press that button and overtake a couple of these drivers, because it must be so tempting to do. But of course, you got to stay really managed. And Ryan, in these opening few stages, it's all about that energy deployment, because they're all so evenly matched. It's about your strategies and when you deploy that energy, which is really going to decide these the order, at least in these opening few laps.
Yeah, I like in the early stages of these guys in the P1 classes, it's all about, as you said, it's all about managing that energy deployment and when to use it and when to save it. And at the moment, Michael seems to be using it just a little bit, just to try and pull away and create a bit of a buffer. And yeah, so far so good for Michael. He's managed to pull a little bit of a gap.
Yeah, really strong for him at the moment. 1.7 seconds. They are the drivers behind are going to fight too hard. They're not going to want to cost each other too much time. It will also be interesting, because I think it's everyone for themselves out there. I don't really see too many team alliances out there in the LMP1 field, so it is going to be just everyone for themselves, and that will be absolutely fascinating. Carl Janssen up 4 positions. He must have used a bit of energy. He starts in an 8th, up into P4. Not too far behind the drivers ahead as well. Let's just check in on the LMP2s, I think, and the GTEs as well. But yeah, Pascal Stix still leading the way, only by half a second though, over the rest of those cars. And yeah, Janssen getting that slow down there, dropping back down the field. And yeah, that's a really difficult part of this track, isn't it, Ryan? Those slowdowns, it frustrates a lot of drivers. But yeah, it's kind of necessary so that drivers don't track it slow.
Yeah, it's a difficult place to have a slowdown, and it's kind of difficult. You want to take, because I've had some slowdowns around this track before, especially after the last couple of corners, and it's kind of, when you get a slowdown, you want to slow down straight away and just get out of the way. But if there's cars behind you, it makes it a little bit difficult, because you don't want to possibly risk an accident and have a car crash into the back of you.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, will be fascinating to see how the drivers deal with that through this race. Pascal Stix coming down the Mulsanne straight right now. And yeah, he's 4/10 clear of the rest of the field. In the GTEs, I think still Lauren Heinrich leading the way there. And yeah, he's still some 2 seconds clear of the rest of the field. This is absolutely incredible from Heinrich at the moment, ahead of Kei Koshube. And of course also the off-track limit coming in for the Le Mans 24s, Ryan. And I imagine quite a few of these drivers are going to be trying to keep it within those white lines, not just for the slowdown effect, but also the instance as well. They need to really train themselves, otherwise they could get disqualified in the real thing later this week.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's good what iRacing's has done, introducing that limit. I mean, when I was watching some streams of the Sparta 24 on Twitch, it was just the amount of off tracks I've seen, especially in the top split, from some of the really like big teams. It was just ridiculous, and I'm quite glad that iRacing's brought in an off track limit for this race, and hopefully it will maybe clear some of the pathetic driving up. But yeah, just need to wait and see.
Yeah, absolutely. Will be 100 limit for this race. It's only 17, but should be relatively simple for the drivers to stay within, particularly in these LMP1s and LMP2s, where they've got a little bit more control over their cars. And Mittner, yeah, he's still extending that gap. Kruger really driving well. Wolf dropping back a little bit, and Ryan, we really have not seen this at all this season. Patrick Wolf not dominating, but of course we have got a fantastic strength of field out there today. But yeah, Wolf, so far, do you think he's quite happy to stay in that P3? Maybe just not use too much energy right now and wait for the pit stops to really launch a proper attack? Yeah,
I mean, I was quite surprised to see Patrick back in P3. I mean, maybe he's just thinking of the playing the safe option or playing the long game and just waiting until the pit stops to try and maybe jump Michael and Florian. I mean, I'm watching him at the moment, and he looks more than happy just to sit where he is at the moment.
Back in the P2s, and it's getting a little bit closer now. So it's half a second too, but it's been close throughout, and would love a proper LMP2. Batson, is there a slowdown actually for Victor Prieto? There is, and yeah, one of the first big runners to get to fall victim to those slowdowns, and boy has he lost a lot of time. That's a good kind of 3 seconds, I would say. Victor Prieto has lost 4 seconds, I think, and yeah, it just shows the costliness of those off tracks. But yeah, Pascal Stix driving really well currently, moving from the LMP1s to the LMP2s for this race, and it's very impressive, Ryan, that he's straight away been able to mix into these LMP2s, which of course are incredibly different to the top tier.
Yeah, the HPD I get is basically, I guess it's kind of similar to a P1 car, or it's kind of the same, but it's just with just not as much power, or yeah, power as the LMP1 car. It's kind of like it's like a feeder car to the P1 car, you could say. But yeah, Pascal seems to be doing a really good job so far, and he's settled in well to the HPD.
Yeah, you can see the gap that he's got over those drivers behind, actually getting really close between Harris and Bryant, actually going to the inside, going into the second Mulsanne chicane, and Bryant does move ahead, so that's very impressive from Maxime Bryant to make that move stick, and he's up in second place, and now he can try to close in on the car's head. Let's just check in on the GTEs. Still the gap between the leaders relatively large. Heinrich still pulling away a little bit from Koshube. It's 3 seconds at the moment, and Koshube actually coming under pressure from the cars behind him. I think this is always a little bit of a difficult situation when you're in a pack like this, Ryan, because at one you kind of think, I can run a little bit faster maybe than the car ahead. But of course, once you start fighting in such a high quality field, you're going to straight away start losing a lot of time.
Yeah, absolutely. Around the ones, especially if you start battling, it gives the car in front a chance to pull away, and that's what Lauren's doing at the moment. And I've also just noticed as well, looking behind the Koshube, Cox, and Alexander as well, and Moritz. I think they're teammates as well. So yeah, I guess just Lauren's doing a good job at the moment, and he's probably the quicker out of his teammates.
Yeah, just driving excellently right now. And yeah, maybe just helping out his teammate a little bit, because Lauren is managing to pull away quite nicely at the moment. And we wait to see if those GTs can come back later on. Potentially in the pit stops could be a great opportunity for them to get back into this lead battle. Let's go back to the LMP1, see how they are getting on. Mittner, of course, before had quite a considerable lead over the rest of the field, and that lead has continued to grow. It's now 4 seconds over the rest of the pack.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the live timing at the moment, and it looks like Pablo Villa Fanez has crashed, I think. I'm not sure what happened.
What class is that? One of the LMP2 runners then getting involved in an incident. And I think Pablo was running near the back of the LMP2 field. It's so close in that LMP2 field. He could well been in for a good result. I wonder what happened to him. Maybe a disconnect or something. But 4.5 seconds. So a big crash for him. And Mittner, 4.5 seconds ahead of the rest of the field. 1.2 seconds faster on that lap. He was the only driver in the 3-minute 14s. And this is track record pace, I think, compared to real life. It's absolutely relentless, right? And it doesn't look like it's going to end anytime soon.
Yeah, Le Mans is it's one of those tracks. Sometimes if you make a mistake in the wrong place, it can bite you, and unfortunately that's what happened.
So Umeshima moving his way through the field. We haven't really talked about Umeshima too much in this race, but of course started near the back of the pack, and one of the quickest sim racers in the world, of course, in that Radicals machine. And he's absolutely rapid around here, and 4 positions gained at the moment. He is just ahead of Fabrice Cornelius, who's not having it his own way currently. Fabrice, another driver who usually really is strong in this series whenever he does turn up. But behind Kazuki, of course, it's such a high quality field this, and you can't just look at all these drivers and you think they'd all be leading the race. But it really does show the quality of this split.
Umeshima, I've watched him. I've not really watched him a lot, but from the times I've watched him in the F1 World Championship Series, he's always been quick, and he's one of those drivers that you can never really rule out of doing well or even winning a race. He's one of those drivers that can spring a surprise when you don't expect it.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, he nearly won a Montreal round, didn't he? One time, in the World Championship. I think before he put it in the wall, unfortunately. But yeah, superb driver, and yeah, would be great to see him rising up the field. And Victor Preto is off the circuit, so we saw him getting a slowdown earlier on, and now he's completely off the circuit, and he has got back going again. Question maybe is has he got much damage on that car after that little bit of an offer? He is down into 21st position overall. That's 9th in the class, I believe, and just ahead of D-Wad Coroni now. Yeah, it's really interesting to see these LMP2s so close, because we've kind of been denied some battles so far this season, I'd say, in the LMP2s. But yeah, now they are pretty much dead level across the entire field.
Yeah, that's the thing with Le Mans, because everyone's I'm guessing everyone will be on low downforce, because most of the track is just it's just basically straight. So ideally, the only way to go with Le Mans is a high downforce configuration. So with everyone probably being on the high downforce configuration, it just makes it so close, and sometimes it makes it hard to pass. And the only way you can get by someone is by hoping that they make a mistake, or if you get a good run on someone on the exit of one of these corners.
Yeah, that is absolutely crucial to all of these cars as well, of course. And yeah, when it's so evenly matched up there, it is extremely difficult to make those moves. Of course, we saw that at Silverstone last time out. And yeah, I think we're seeing the same once again. Really close in these HPDs now. So Heures just ahead of Wiseman currently, although it's getting really close just ahead. Marquez and Preto and Co. Preto seemingly not too much damage after a little bit of an off in the gravel, but they are so close going into the Indianapolis corner. Oh, and Heures just spun round.
Manuel Heures crashed.
Yeah, he didn't quite hit the wall. He's got to get back going again. Heures stationary for a bit, although, yeah, back going again now. That could have been a whole lot worse than it turned out to be.
Yeah, I'm just watching the replay now just to see what happened. And yeah, is this coming up to Indianapolis? I don't know if he got tagged or anything like that. Oh, he just lost it on the brakes.
Yeah, always a difficult corner, that whatever car you're in.
Yeah, it's so easy to lose it in Indianapolis. I mean, if you carry too much speed and you don't slow down enough, it unsettles the rear end. And yeah, basically there's two ways it'll go. It'll either you go straight on, or you'll spin and hit the wall, or you'll just have a silly spin like Manuel Heures just had right now. It's an easy mistake to make around this track, or in that corner especially, and it's just hopefully it doesn't do that in the race on Saturday.
Yeah, absolutely, because yeah, I remember I had a bit of at least one of my teammates had a bit of an incident down there. Yeah, just on the corner before that, and yeah, they nearly hit the wall as well. That's one of the corners that you kind of get a little bit less, where it's a little bit less forgiving than maybe some other areas of the circuit. Here we are, and yeah, going down the Mulsanne straight, but here comes Carl Janssen, just behind Patrick Wolf at the moment. And Janssen looking really strong. Wolf just not keeping up with the drivers ahead, and he's got a bit of a queue behind him now, and it goes back to the battery deployment now of these cars. When do they deploy the energy to make these overtakes? And actually, Janssen getting really close. He might even look to the inside into the Porsche curves, and then try and get this turbulent air effect. Not too large in these cars. You can stay close, of course, but it's still exactly not going to help you. And Janssen, I think, feels as though he's got to get a move on, because they are a long way behind the two leaders, right? And if he wants to have any chance at a top 2 finish, he's got to make that move very soon, so he can go chase them down.
They've got GT traffic in front of them, so this could play a part. Yeah, I'm not sure what's up with Patrick. It's not like him to be off the pace. I mean, he's normally quick in this P1 in the P1 cars. I don't know if it's something to do with setup, or if he's having any FPS or stuttering issues. Oh, into the behind.
Oh, that's the Porsche round, and I think there was a little bit of contact with the LMP1 as well. And Dinkel's a little bit, Dinkel's a little bit offline. Was it him who made the contact with the other driver?
Yeah,
it was then.
Just watched to see what happened, and yeah, just I think he just had nowhere to go. I mean, it was just happening in front of him, and a Porsche and a Porsche P1 car just got caught up, and Michael had nowhere to go, and yeah, I think he might have just got some aero damage from that.
Yeah, and this is not a circuit where you want that whatsoever.
And yeah, Mike was back in the pits, so he must have some big damage.
Yeah, I think so. I didn't think it was too bad initially, but yeah, I think on the replay you could see that it was a little bit more firm. We just saw it in the background initially. And yeah, that's one of the big contenders for a podium out of this race. It just shows how vulnerable these P1 cars are.
Yeah, I've never tried the P1 cars, but from what I've heard from various drivers is if even the slightest knock on the front, say on the left front or the right front or on the front in general, it affects the car in a straight line, and also it affects it aerodynamically. And yeah, if you get the slightest bit of damage, it just costs so much time. But yeah, back to my point. Yeah, I'm surprised that Patrick's so far off the pace. It's just, yeah, he's fallen back into the clutches of Carl Janssen, and it's just, I'm slightly surprised.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, really surprising. This, it always gets me, these LMP1 cars in the GTs.
Sorry to interrupt, Sam. Lauren Heures has crashed from the GT lead.
Oh wow, okay. Did he just skim the wall, or? I think that may have just been, yeah, maybe a live timing error or something. I think he's okay, is Heinrich. Still leading the race quite comfortably. But yeah, I think I saw him just falling down the field. Seems to be okay, but of course the LMP1's of course going to be catching him very soon. Surprising that it's taken them quite this long to cross lap than the first time. It's a notoriously long lap round here at Le Mans. Go see what's going on in the LMP2 field. And yeah, I think not too much has happened in that class since we last checked in on them. Still Pascal Stix leading the way, and by quite a comfortable margin, 3 seconds ahead of Maxime Bryant, who of course made that move earlier on. And since that move, Bryant, I think, has been quite even on pace, but on that last lap, Stix actually pulling away by half a second. So he seems to just about have a hold on this event. Robert Harris falling back behind, with Neil Andrews running in fourth. To Prater trying to recover from his earlier on instance, and Marquez actually losing out to Coroni there. The key just ahead. Glenn Key doing a really good job in that cut. Then just behind that we've got Tokarev and Wiseman as well. Actually, just a little bit under pressure is Coroni from Marquez. Marquez trying to come back at Coroni after that move down into Indianapolis a few corners ago. But as long as he stays close, Ryan, you know, he's going to be able to keep up down these straights, and that's really going to help him just drag along and keep his pace up. I think we may have lost Ryan there, maybe having some connection issues. But a bit below, is he just falling down the field, I think. Yeah, I think he's
sorry
okay.
about that, my microphone was on mute for some reason. Yeah, as I was saying before that happened, if he's not quick in the corners, he can still keep up on the straights, because the slipstream effect around this track on the straights is just, it's so effective. If you can do that, it'll help as well. And also on the other hand as well, it'll help with possibly saving 1 or 2 laps of fuel as well when it comes to the pit stop. So yeah, if you can just stick in the slipstream, that'll help you. That'll help you with fuel as well.
Fantastic batsman between Hart and Cornelis currently. Cornelis just about hanging on. I think he was defending at least down there, and yeah, hanging on to that position. Actually, Hart, Hart coming back at Cornelis. It's already past Root Prasad on this lap, so he's really a man on the charge now as Johan Hart. Right on the tail of his rival. Of course, never seems to qualify well, Hart, whether he's in the LMP1 or the LMP2. But when it comes to racing, can often be unstoppable. And he's, looking super close. And yeah, if he can just clear this cut, you know, the podium's only 7 seconds away from these drivers if they can really get a move on. Right now, it just seems though Fabrice is just losing a little bit of time. As Hart now goes for the overtake on Cornelis, so that was very simple, just using a little bit more battery, and now we wait to see what he can do to the cars ahead. I guess we should just check in on the GTEs, we haven't seen them for too long now. And it's still Lauren Heinrich leading the way in that field, with Keiko Shube in second position, still quite a gap between those two. Naz Kosh in third position. Not quite the trains that I expected, Ryan, in these GTEs. We have got a bit of a train here, and maybe the LMP1's getting through these cars, maybe just breaking them up a little bit.
Yeah, it's probably because of the LMP1 cars lapping the GTs at the moment. That the field is so spread out. So in a way, it's kind of there's not that many battles to watch, but on the other hand, it gives our GTE leader Lauren Heinrich a chance to relax a little bit and just try and increase the gap, and he's managing to do that at the moment. So yeah, he's got no one behind him to fight with, or anyone in front of him to fight with. So it's kind of just relax, and not treat it like a Sunday drive, but just keep on the black stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a lot easier said than done. And of course, we have seen this season. Well, to be fair, I was about to say we have seen this season a few instances with the lapping cars. But to be fair, driving standards have been so high that we haven't seen too many collisions. We did see one at Silverstone, but that's the only one that I can really think of. Naz Kosh really on. Is he just ahead of Alexandra Voss? So Kosh actually falling back into Voss. Hasn't had a brilliant race, I think. Still running in P3 and P4, these two drivers, with Keiko Shube just up the road. Just losing a little bit of time to do the chicanes, and it's just affected Voss a little bit. And because we were talking a little bit earlier on, Ryan, about the fuel effect, and I wonder if Ross is doing that because, you know, he might be able to have a chance later on in the race. We can just save a little bit of fuel, go that further lap on that first stint, and maybe be able to overcut a couple of drivers ahead.
Ooh, oh, I love that drift by Corso on the exit of the. I can't remember the name of the corner, but he just got a little sideways on the exit of the corner, and I love that. Yeah, maybe Alexander's just thinking about not making a pass on his teammate, and maybe they're working together as well, just to try and help each other save some fuel a little bit. Plus, these guys are teammates, so in a way it makes sense not to fight each other as well and possibly risk taking each other out.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's no point in that, and they probably realise that they are very equal in pace anyway. And into the pits comes a lot of the LMP1s. All of them apart from Wolf are into the pits, so, well, we were doubting Patrick Wolf earlier on. I wonder if he's just going to no-stop it or something and pull out something from his hat and, yeah, pull up an amazing strategy. But if he only goes one lap further, I don't see how it's going to help him too much. But this is the halfway point in the race, Ryan. And, do you think the cars might be a little bit tight on fuel? Because this is very early, a lot earlier than we usually see them.
Yeah, I'm quite surprised that some of the P1 cars are putting this early in the race. I mean, Le Mans, from my experience, you want to try and go as long as possible and try and stop as late as possible. And I think if some of the P1 cars are putting at this stage of the race at this early, then I'm not sure if some of them will be able to make it in fuel unless they can fuel save a little bit and try and make it to the end. But as you say, it'll be tight.
Mittner and Kruger side by side. Mittner was leading the race. Kruger got the better pit stop, and Mittner actually went across the pit exit line. I wonder if that's going to maybe give him a penalty. I doubt it, because he seemed pretty happy to do so. So I imagine he knows something that I don't. Maybe you don't get a penalty if you go over that. But Mittner takes back that position. Yeah, this will be interesting from the onboard. And let's see if he was maybe forced out by his rival, or maybe was quite willing to. Here he goes. And yeah, I don't know if you saw that, Ryan, with Mittner going across the pit exit line. He was very happy to do so. Are you sure? Are you familiar with the rules when it comes to that?
I'm not sure. I'm just taking a look at the replay now to see what happened, and he comes out the pits, and yeah, I'm not sure if whoever was in front of him was just a little bit slow to get away, or if Michael had to take avoiding action. But yeah, I'm not sure in the rules on that. Not in the official series anyway. But if it was a league race, I guess you would get his knuckles wrapped.
Yeah, I think so. We've just been given information by one of the people on the chat. Yeah, 19 laps it's meant to be, and they pitted on lap 9. So Patrick, this is getting interesting now, because it seems as though Patrick was saving fuel earlier on, and I assume he's going to pit here. I assume they've got to do a 10-lap stint, which is really difficult, and a 9-lap stint, which isn't quite as difficult. So he's now done his 10-lap stint and will be able to sprint for these final 9 laps, whilst everyone else saves fuel. That's at least how I interpret it. So we were doubting Patrick Wolf, weren't we, earlier on in the race, Ryan? And yet I think he's proven us all wrong, because he's put himself into a potentially race-winning situation.
Yeah, if he's pitted now, and if someone's saying that they can do, if he can do 19 laps, he should be good to go into the end. Oh, Mike was in the pits.
Wow, that must be the pit exit line. We called it. I'm going to take credit for that. That's the best thing I've ever done. And yeah, he's into the pits, and yeah, we shouldn't really be mocking him, because that would have been an awesome race victory for him. But I don't really know why he kind of did that because he didn't have to. He didn't have to take that position straight away, and it's cost him bad. And any chance of a race victory is over now for Michael Mittner with this extra pit stop he's going to have to do. Patrick Wolf comes out in 4th position. Umeshima now up into 3rd. It's up 9 positions from where he started. Jansen's in 2nd, so it's all changed around seemingly during these pit stops. And Wolf now 10 seconds to catch up to Kruger. And this is a proper duel now between those two, and we just wait to see if Jansen and Umeshima will also factor in this battle.
Yeah, this could be on for a three-way or a four-way battle for the one. So yeah, let's just wait and see.
Change of position then. Umeshima moving ahead of Jansen. Umeshima's been so strong and yeah, he was a little bit deep there. He went a little bit wide to the second part of the corner. Wait, these two are teammates, aren't they? Of course they
radicals.
are. Yeah, oh dear, I was making a big deal out of it. So, this is interesting now because we've been talking about fuel a little bit today, Ryan. These two surely have got to work together. Give one of them a massive tow, and then they might actually be able to put up a fight against a Wolf. Otherwise, they're going to have to save a lot of fuel between them and lose a lot of time if they're going to get to the end of the race.
Yeah, I don't. Excuse me. I don't see the point of these guys fighting too much. I mean, they're teammates as well, so it's kind of, as you say, it's probably better for them to work together and save fuel, and also like help each other, like for one of them to win the race, and also stop Patrick winning. But yeah, if they keep going the way they're going at the moment, I think Patrick will be catching up to them in no time.
Yeah, and I think, well, basically, I think what they might be trying to do is give each other tows and play it very fair. It's not really going to win. They've got to be a little bit more clinical than that. One driver's got to get the slipstream, and one's got to tow them along. Otherwise, they're not going to stand a chance against Wolf. If they do sacrifice one driver, they might just stand a chance in this race. Umeshima just sitting behind. Maybe they are giving preference to Kazuki out there. And yeah, he's not going to go for a move across into the Porsche car. He's getting a really nice slipstream, saving plenty of fuel. And that's certainly the best strategy they can execute. P2 class. Still no pit stops for those guys. So they have all pitted. I'm wrong. So yeah, we completely missed that, unfortunately. All the LMP2s have pitted, but it still sticks out in the lead, and he is 5.5 seconds ahead of Bryant. He's under a little bit more pressure from Donoso now, only 1.5 seconds, and Harris as well. So that's been a little bit of a slow pit stop for Maxime Bryant. He lost a couple of seconds, I think, but still a little bit under pressure. Yeah, these guys also, of course, pitting quite early on in this event, with Neil Andrews still not really factoring in, 4 seconds behind, with Victor Prete just behind him. Yeah, quite a difference in the pit stop laps there, Ryan. I don't know if it's really going to factor. Some of the drivers pitting on lap 9, they should still be able to get the one stop pretty easy, but Donoso pitting on lap 11. I think he managed to put in a little bit less fuel at his pit stop after saving a little bit of fuel earlier on, and that's really has proven to be a really effective tactic today.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, I had to kick my dog out of the room because it kept trying to get underneath my desk. What were you saying, Sam?
I was just saying how Donoso managed to pit 2 laps later than a lot of his rivals, just by saving fuel, and it's just more confirmation that saving fuel in this race is one of the absolute key factors.
Yeah, absolutely. It just kind of takes me back to my point that if you stay in the slipstream of someone and for as long as possible, and yeah, it looks like Donoso's used that tactic and managed to go 1 or 2 laps longer, and yeah, it's helped him.
Yeah, absolutely. Alexander Ross now takes the lead in the GTE field. A lot of drivers coming in. We will just check that And it stays the same way. Heinrich was leading the race, and he has just got out of the pits, I believe. And I think he is still leading the drivers who have made a pit stop. Yes, he is. Lohner behind him. Only Ross and Cruz staying out, so they clearly saved a lots of fuel between their boss. Actually, I think spent that entire first stint in like 5th position, just getting a slipstream from the car ahead, and Cruz as well, just behind. And yeah, Heinrich 7.5 seconds ahead of Kei Koshube. I doubt fuel is going to be too much of importance in this GTE field, so I doubt Koshube is going to be able to come back at him later on. But yeah, that whole GTE field not really setting a light yet, particularly for the lead. It really does look like Lauren Heinrich has driven this one to absolute perfection out there, and is surely going to take that race victory today. Guess we should go back to the LMP1, see if there's been any changes for the podium positions, because the last time we saw them, because Janssen and Umashima were coming under pressure from Patrick Wolf from just behind. Here is Kruger then leading the race, and Janssen still leading Umashima, and Wolf not getting that much closer now. I'm loving this from Radicals. I realise it's harsh on Janssen, but they are catching Kruger. Kruger is lapping 2 seconds a lap slower than he was earlier on in this race. That may have just been bad fuel. Bad traffic. I think it's because he's saving fuel. And the two Radicals drivers, and Wolf's dropped down, down into 5th position. Arnold has got ahead of him, so Wolf must have got a slowdown or something, and that's really cost Patrick Wolf from absolutely charging along, and he is now 11 seconds off. So all that time he gained earlier on in this stint has been undone by that mistake.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's wrong with Patrick today. I mean, it's not like him to be having an off day. He's not. I thought I was expecting him to be just walking away with the win, but yeah, I'm not sure what it is. If he's just not comfortable with the track, or if he's just not comfortable using low downforce. But it's not like Patrick to be having an off day.
Yeah, absolutely, and he did manage to get back past Richard Arnold at the end of that first milestone straight, but yeah, it's going to be difficult for him to come back now. Still Janssen ahead of Umashima, and it's clear that those two drivers, Janssen sacrificing his race for Umashima's benefit, and that's yeah, good to see from Radicals. Really good team play from Carl Janssen. I'm probably going to be proved wrong. Janssen's going to win this race, but I think he's just giving a slipstream to his teammate to give him the best possible chance at beating Florian Kruger ahead, and they've already taken 7/10 out of him in the first sector. They're absolutely charging along these two Radicals drivers, and a little bit of a slipstream from these two HBDs as well. It's always going to help.
Yeah, I think if Janssen and Umashima stay where they are at the moment, I think give it maybe 4 or 5 laps, they'll be right up behind Kruger, who is doing a good job at the moment, but he's not as quick as Janssen or Umashima, and I think if he doesn't step up his pace, then I think it'll be Janssen or Umashima that will be taking the victory today.
Yeah, I think so. He's really got to find something else. I think he is still a little bit further up the road, but I think Janssen and Umashima with a little bit more fuel really going to be giving themselves a good chance by the end of this event. Bryant getting back ahead of Donoso, I think, in the LMP2s. Oh, and a car into the wall there. One of the GTEs, that was. And here it was, Demis Gabrovski into the wall. And yeah, it's one of those, Ryan, where you got to run so little wing round this circuit that those Porsche curves can become so difficult, because you need all the downforce you can get. But when you're having to take so much wing off just to give yourself some straight line speed, really does make those corners a lot more difficult than they otherwise would be.
Yeah, I know at Le Mans you need low downforce, but also because of the Porsche curves being a high speed section, you need a little bit of downforce for the Porsche curves as well. Otherwise, if you try and carry some speed through the Porsche curves on a low downforce setup, with that isn't really stable for the high speed corners around Le Mans. It's just, if you make a mistake, there's no chance of saving it, and your race is over.
Yeah, and that's what we saw from Grabowski earlier on. Marceno just making the move on Samuel Roth now, so you could see the Ford represented up there. Marceno going a little bit wide. I don't know what the rules for the slowdown are through that corner, but seemingly getting away with it. And trying to kind of break the turf. He possibly can against his rival just behind, but you can see how he's really vulnerable down into Mulsanne corner, but defending the inside, and it's not a whole lot the driver on the outside can do this time. But these guys not too far behind Niles Koch either, with Alexander Voss and then Kei Koshube. Still Hynek a long way out in the lead. But this is a nice little battle going on. Roth closing in once again, and these battles, Ryan, whilst they're really good to watch, they're not exactly decisive, because as long as the driver can get back into the slipstream on the next lap, they could come back. Here comes Rotho on the outside, going into these next couple of corners into Indianapolis. And he's just going to lose out, and that was a brilliant side-by-side piece of action. Can he try to come back here, try and get the cutback if he possibly can? And then the HPD will pass them here. Only a tenth behind. Will he go for the move into the Porsche curves? They take such a wide turn in. Actually, he's going to go to the outside for the Porsche curves. Maybe this is the line he prefers. It's a slightly shorter route to the Porsche curves, but they're side by side now, side by side, going in. Whoa. And he's got the ideal line here. Roth isn't going to be able to, Roth takes that position. Marceno was not going to be able to hang it round the outside there, and that was absolutely superb battling for a few corners there, Ryan.
Yeah, that was awesome, but at the same time, it made me clench a little bit. But yeah, luckily both guys gave each other enough room to get through the Porsche curves, and enough room and enough a lot of respect. So yeah, good battle by these guys. Hard but fair racing.
Oh, this is getting interesting now. Kruger leading the race. He's only 3 tenths ahead. What's happened to Kruger on this lap? I'll see if it was just an individual sector, maybe. I'm not quite sure. But he lost so much time on this lap. He's normally in the 3:17s. And I think on that lap he wasn't too far off. But yeah, Kruger really struggling out there. Half a second.
Kruger a bit wide in turn 1. But yeah, he's made it through.
Whoa, what's Janssen? Oh, why would he do that? I assume he just thought the HPD would kind of get out of the way, kind of drive the circuit for him. But that was a little bit of a mistake from Janssen. Could have been a whole lot worse, though he may have been getting launched over a curb. But yeah, this move could happen anywhere. Umeshima and Wolf, 3.5 seconds behind these guys. This could be a 5-way battle very, very soon.
Yeah, I'd have to watch as well, because they've got traffic in front of them, and this could play a deciding factor.
Just helping out actually Kruger there. Janssen's going to have to just stick behind here, although you'll know when to get onto the throttle. Just leaves a little bit of a gap. Once again, just about finds the clean air ahead of him. This is superb battling here at Le Mans down the Mulsanne straight. These LMP1s just dispatching the slower cars one by one as they race against one another.
Yeah, slowly closing up to the back of Kruger.
Kruger might lose a little bit of time here. Yeah, he's right onto the tail now. And this is where Janssen, if he can just press that button, will be able to move ahead of him. Umeshima's very close as well. And here we go. We're going to see a change for the lead in the LMP1 field. Janssen to the inside, and Umeshima might even try to follow him through as well, but he's not going to be able to. Yes, he is. Kazuki Umeshima down the inside into Mulsanne corner, and that's an awesome move, and it's a Radicals 1-2. Kruger maybe struggling for fuel, and he's going to try to repel this attack now. Kruger, he's been leading this race since the pit stops, and he's trying to repel the attack against Kazuki Umeshima, and he's going to the outside now. But trying to almost push him out is Umeshima. He's got no fear, clearly, and he's managed to establish that position. And yeah, I don't think Kruger's going to be able to stand much of a chance against those two guys now. And next up will be Wolf and Arnold, who are only 3 seconds down the road.
Yeah, I was just watching the replay back of that move by Umeshima up the inside of Kruger, and yeah, it made that was brave stuff. But thankfully, Umeshima managed to pull it off, and yeah, I'm guessing he's been watching videos of Kamui Kobayashi.
Yeah, what a move that was down into. I don't think he necessarily had to do that into Malsan. He could have just stayed behind for another corner, but he was so decisive, and he knew, to be fair, that Florian wasn't going to turn in on him. Florian has been able to stay close to this part of the circuit, and if anything, Janssen just playing a little bit ahead, not giving him his teammate quite the same slipstream as he was earlier on. But Wolf and Arnold are closing in on these guys so quickly. Them fighting has really allowed them to catch up, and you can just see those two cars in just behind the Ferrari. Oh, this is awesome battling, Ryan. This is a proper crescendo to this race. We've seen the LMP1s at times this season being a little bit inevitable, with the pure drivers really dominating the event. But today it's been anything but.
Yeah, I have to say it's actually been a really good race, and considering that Le Mans is such a long track, I was expecting it to be spread out. But this battle for the lead in the LMP1 class has been absolutely awesome, and with only I think just under 10 minutes, something like that. But yeah, it's this show proves why I love watching this sort of racing, just because it's so close and it's just unpredictable.
Umeshima takes the lead of the race. He's got past Carl Janssen, so that's the change, and I wonder, I don't know what's going to happen next in this race, to be honest. But is that a little bit of a sign that Umeshima is now going to romp up into the distance? He's saved the fuel that he had to. He's going to be able to make the 19 laps in this event. And now, can he pull away from his rivals behind? Or is this just a bit of fair play from the two of them? Janssen now gets further slipstream. He gets to save some fuel to get to the end of the race. We really don't know, and we'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, whilst maybe we get a slight breath, we might just be worth checking in on the HPDs. And it is Pascal Sticks, not too far behind these guys on the track, and he is now 11 seconds ahead of Brian, who of course got past Donoso earlier on in this stint. And yeah, Donoso 1.6 seconds behind. Heures and Preta just dropping off a little bit, so they're not going to be able to really factor into the podium positions. But Heures is under a bit of pressure from Preta. I wonder if he's got a little bit of damage from his offs earlier on. Still seems to be running okay though in that 5th position at the moment, with Neil Langis in 6th. In the GTE side, still Lauren Heinrich leading comfortably, and Kei Kashibe 8 seconds behind. Alexander Voss really coming back at Kashibe. I think those two are teammates, so it will be interesting to see what the dynamic between those two are. Maybe just saving a little bit of fuel, but I imagine if these two are close come the final few laps, Ryan, it's going to be gloves off.
Yeah, if these guys are still together, I think it'll be just go for it. It'll be just go all out for the win.
Yeah, they're not going to. At the moment, Kashibe has got the track position, but Voss has really been coming back at him strongly in this second stint, and on that last lap was 6/10 faster than his teammates. But for now, there's not really any point in going past him. May as well just stay in behind to make his attack later on.
I have to say, Kruger's still managing to keep up these guys, so yeah, you never know. He might try. He's still with a chance of winning this race or finishing in 2nd. Yeah,
and where will Wolf and Arnold also kind of end up in this situation as well. What is the gap between these guys? The top 5 separated by 3.5 seconds. It's absolutely superb. In fact, Arnold has actually just dropped back a little bit, maybe having to manage his fuel numbers. Patrick Wolf doesn't have to worry about that. And you just wonder, is Wolf going to be able to romp up to the back of these guys near the end of the race and pass all of them? As he's got 1 lap extra of fuel, at least he did at the start of this stint. Kruger is trying to get the move on Umeshima, and here he goes. So Umeshima fell back behind Janssen then, and here comes Kruger, and he's made the move. So what's going on with Umeshima now?
I wonder if Umeshima's maybe got maybe his tyres are dropped off, or if he's maybe he's having safe fuel himself, and maybe he's not got as much fuel as he expected to make it to the finish.
Yeah, I'm really surprised about that because he's had the slipstream pretty much this entire stint on Carl Janssen, and Janssen has just driven off into the distance seemingly. Umeshima, yeah, just looking at sector time, it's just been a slow couple of sectors for him, and I don't think he's going to be so much of a chance against Patrick Wolf, who's closing in on these guys so quickly. We just don't know what's going to happen, Ryan. We don't know what the situation of fuel for these drivers are. If this was a straight fight with all their fuel equal, then you'd have to give the advantage to Janssen. But knowing that Wolf can really use a lot more power than these drivers, he's looking very strong right now.
Yeah, I was just about to say, look who's catching up to the back of these guys is Patrick Wolf. I mean, he's right on the back of Umeshima now, and I think it's only a matter of time before Patrick gets by him and possibly gets by Kruger as well.
We should have, is this next lap going to be the final lap? They'd have to be a minute away from the finish. No, I think they should be okay. Should get 2 more laps in, which isn't exactly what Janssen, Kruger and Umeshima want. It will be the 19 lap race that we predicted earlier on in this race. Just to, remind you, these the top 3 all pitted on lap 9, so they've got to do a 10 lap second stint. Wolf pitted 1 lap later on lap 10. He's only got to do a 9 lap stint, so has been able to drive a lot faster in this second stint of the race.
Yeah, Wolf is right on the back of Umeshima now. Umeshima must be having to conserve fuel.
Well, he said earlier on, never rule out Kazuki Umeshima, and I'm very reluctant to right now. But here comes Patrick Wolf. There isn't a whole lot Umeshima can do here. Wolf down the inside, going into turn 1. And unless Umeshima feels like deploying some battery now, Wolf is going to move up into P3. The first time he's been in the podium positions since his first pit stop. Oh, sorry, well, since about lap 5 in this race when he dropped back in the early stages, saving some fuel. And he's only 4.5 seconds off the race lead with less than 2 laps to go.
Yeah, I'm just looking through the field. I can't really see that many battles, and yeah, I can't really see that many battles through the field in the P2 class or the GTs. It's just it seems to have settled down now.
Riblo having to defend against Prudhomme just behind, with Dragutha not too far behind as well. Cornelius did have an incident earlier on. I think he got caught up in HPD. He wasn't particularly praiseful, I don't know if that's a word, of the HPD field. And so I think it may have had something to do with that, but he's out of the race. So too is Michael Dinkel after an incident earlier on when colliding with a stranded GTE car. Prudhomme really close, and look at that, deploying a lot more energy, fixing these LMP1 cars so strong, and he's managed to make that move up into P9 ahead of Riblo. Dragutha not too far behind as well, see if he can get involved in this battle as well. Going just before, of course, we start the final lap in the LMP1s, because I think we'll be focusing on them. Should just check the HPDs. Just to let you know what's going on, and it is still Pascal Sticks 11 seconds ahead of Donoso. He has got past Bryant as well, so we'd love to see that battle as well, because Bryant on that last lap, I don't know if we can maybe get a replay of that overtake for Donoso, because he's spent quite a few laps behind Bryant, but they're managing to make the move. And yeah, here it was. Donoso just getting a lot of slipstream. And yeah, easily past this rival, maybe being able to use a little bit more fuel, and that certainly seemed to be a power advantage heading down that first mile time straight. And Donoso into second position now in that HBD field. In the GTEs, I think it's still Lauren Heinrich leading the way, with Keiko Shube and Alexandra Voss still fighting hard for that second position. Voss just behind still. I wonder if he's going to put on a last lap lunge to make the move. And Janssen is into the pits. I can't believe it. He's had to do the two-stopper. It wasn't going to work. And now it's Florian Kruger back into the lead of the race. And also Umeshima into the pit. So both radicals have mismanaged their fuel line.
Yeah, I had a feeling, I said it earlier when some of these guys pitted early around about the 33-minute mark, 34-minute mark. I had a feeling that some of these guys wouldn't be able to make it. And yeah, even though I'm not very good at fuel calculations or strategy, it looks like my observation was right.
What is going to happen then? It's a straight fight between Kruger and Wolf. Kruger has left so many laps in this race. Doesn't really matter though, apart from this one. He's got a 2.5 second lead on that last lap. Wolf was 7/10 slower. Has Kruger managed to pull off a master stroke, the master fuel saver, and be able to take away this race victory? What a race victory it would be if he can pull it off.
Yeah, I have to say, he needs to keep an eye on Patrick though, because Patrick, even if he's 2 seconds behind, I think he can still make it up. And I've got a feeling that Florian's he's got enough fuel to make it to the end of this lap, and then after that he'll be on fumes. But yeah, I agree with you, Sam. If Patrick makes it round to the finish line, and I'm not saying he won't, I'm not going to jinx it, but if he won this race, it would be a well-deserved one.
Oh, this is absolutely fantastic, because no one knows what's going to happen. We don't know what the fuel situations for either of these drivers are. Kruger probably has the best bet, and he seems to be romping round at a good pace still. But Wolf, first sector 2/10 faster, second sector 4/10 faster. He is closing in. Third sector a little bit faster, and fourth sector half a second faster. He is getting closer and closer. It's down to 2.2 seconds between these two drivers. It's just a question of, has Florian Kruger got enough fuel to get round? He's only got a few corners to go. Don't need too much power around this part of the circuit. Arnold has had to fall back way behind. Remember, he was in this battle a few laps ago, but he's had fuel issues as well. But Florian Kruger, he's only got a few more corners to go. Wolf 2.3 seconds behind at the moment, going into the Porsche curves. He's only got to get round. Not too far to go now. And Patrick Wolf will be giving it his absolute all, but Florian Kruger, dare I say it, he looks good for the race victory now.
Yeah, I have to say it's been an awesome performance from Florian. It's well deserved.
Absolutely. Florian Kruger round the final chicane, and he's pulled off the fuel saving to an absolute masterstroke. Florian Kruger takes the LMP1 victory. What a race that was. Patrick Wolf ends up 1.9 seconds behind. If it weren't for that error maybe earlier on in the stint, maybe he would have stood a better chance there, Wolf. But yeah, that was a good comeback after a struggling first stint, saving a lots of fuel. I don't think it's going to take too long for our LMP2 leader to come through, Pascal Sticks, to cross the line. Arnold did get third with Janssen fourth. Here's Sticks. Remember, he was close on the LMP ones a couple of laps ago. You can see how much the pace difference is. Sticks has been absolutely dominant in this LMP2 field. And he'll be really looking forward to Le Mans at the weekend. He's certainly going to be one of the front runners. Pascal Sticks takes the LMP2 victory here at Le Mans. That was a fantastic performance, absolutely faultless. I don't think there's a scratch on that car. It was absolutely dominant in the end. And the GTE leaders as well, Lauren Heinrich, he's also going to be fancying his chances for the GTEs as well. And to be 8 seconds clear of Kei Kashibe and Alexandra Voss, Ryan, that's some achievement.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that race was absolutely awesome to watch today. Plus, we had a new winner today in the case of Florian Kruger, and yeah, he absolutely deserves that win. And he timed that pit stop to perfection and got the fuel right, and he was there to pick up the pieces when Carl Janssen and Kazuki Omashima, they had to do a splash and dash to work pick up the pieces and won the race in extra stroke.
Seems as though Kashibe is going to hold off Voss, but Heinrich takes the GTE victory. I think that's his first time he's won this split. And yeah, he will also be looking very strong for Le Mans at the weekend. Kashibe beats Voss. Voss spent so long behind his teammate, and in the end just could not pull off the killer move. Maybe a little bit of an agreement between the two of them. They take home P2 and P3. Saw some good points for them in the championship. And we've just got a few more GTs, I think, to come round. But yeah, because we've already gone through the that race, Ryan. But yeah, absolutely fantastic battling out there. It wasn't necessarily the race I predicted. I thought it was going to very much be just a slipstream fest, especially in the GTEs, but also in the LMP2s. But I think instead we got a very much a fuel-centered race with drivers all down the field having to manage their fuel throughout the event. And I think that was just as good, if not better.
Yeah, yeah. Some of the strategies that were used in the race today were interesting, to say the least. I'm still surprised that some of the front runners in the P1 class pitted it as early as it did. I mean, I had a feeling it's not everyone would be able to make it from when they pitted. So yeah, in a way it was kind of sad to see, but on the other hand, I'm glad that happened in a way, because it gave us a different winner. And yeah, it was good to see a new winner today. And I've got nothing against Patrick Wolf, but seeing a new winner like Florian just drive that race faultlessly was absolutely fantastic to see.
Yeah, absolutely, could not agree more. And it is Florian Kruger taking away the LMP1 victory. What a performance that was. With Patrick Wolf in second, nearly came back in the closing stages, but still a second place not bad whatsoever for Patrick and his championship chances. Richard Arnold really started 13th. Came up the field brilliantly. It looked as though he was going to fight for the race victory with a few laps to go. In the end, had to manage the fuel, but still did it better than a lot of the other top drivers. He finishes in third, 17 seconds off the lead. Carl Janssen had to make an extra pit stop. He finishes in fourth with Johan Haaf in fifth. I think he had to really manage the fuel in the closing stages. Matteo Prudhomme in sixth. He really profited in the latter stages with Tony Rupsad in seventh. It's Michael Mittner had to take a stop-go penalty, and you wonder what would have been if it weren't for that. He ends up in 8th place with Julien Ribelet in 9th. Kazuki Umashiri had to take a pit stop, and I wonder if he got like a speeding penalty or something, because he got a very slow pit stop at the end of that race. He finishes in 10th with Will Chistuga in 11th place, 1 lap down. In the LMP2s, Pascal Sticks really dominated that race. Fabrizio Donoso did beat Maxime Bryant. They had a brilliant duel through the race with Rob Harris in 4th position. It was Victor Prieto, Glenn Key, Neil Andrews, Leonardo Marquez, Diwad Karoni, Robin Bonden, Vlad Tokarev, Andy De Ruta, and George Wiseman rounding out that field. And finally, in the GTEs, Lauren Heinrich winning that category, a long way ahead of Kei Kashiba, who just about held up his teammate Alexander Voss in the closing stages. Nars Kosh just dropped off in the closing stage, but still a solid P4 for him. Samuel Roth in 5th place. And it's Simona Maria Marcheno just behind him with Jeremy Raven. Moritz Lohner, that's Joel Guez, Daniel Cruz, Patrick Heinrich, Patrick Victor, Barry Morrison, and Jack Sedgwick, and Dennis Grabowski, who had a bit of a crash out there in the end. Hopefully we'll get some interviews with the drivers. And currently we don't have anyone, so hopefully a couple of drivers will join us. We have had a couple of drivers join the Discord, but not ready for an interview yet. And yeah, I guess it's just moving on to next week now. Ryan, that was a brilliant race at Le Mans, but of course we talked earlier on about the championship coming to a close and how important the points are to these drivers now. And yeah, that's really going to be the case in these closing stages of the championship.
Yeah, I think I think there's only 2 races left after tonight, so yeah, I think in the last two races of the season, I think some people that have a chance of a championship but didn't do well tonight, they'll need to up their game for the last two races and just pick up as many points as possible and maybe try and get a win or two and just hope for the best. But yeah, tonight I absolutely enjoyed it. It was good fun, and Le Mans threw up some surprises, and yeah, that was I enjoyed commentating on it.
Yeah, absolutely. Next round, I was frantically looking for the next round of the championship. It is Daytona next week. 60 minutes will that race be? Yeah, that'll be at night as well. So it'll be a fascinating challenge for the drivers. Certainly look forward to that. And then on be Sebring rounding out this ILMS championship. But yeah, seemingly no interviews tonight, I think. But yeah, I think that's just going to about round us out. Tomorrow we've got the BSRTC Pro Series on Apex Racing TV, and then on Saturday we've got the Sim Races for Asia in the afternoon, followed by the Euro V8 in the evening. And on Sunday we've got the IGPS and the BSR Grand Tour as well. And then on Monday will be the return of the World GT Championship. But for now, from me and from Ryan and from Sam, we'll say goodbye and we'll see you next time.